Utilizing metal rubs with the metal coatings. In this video, we will be using the metal rubs in conjunction with the metal coating process. Now, for this, the Complete Sculptor has donated this beautiful plaster piece of a Mayan calendar, and we're going to start off with our primate as usual. And as we've mentioned in other videos, the primate is not 100% required for plaster or really for molds, but it helps make sure that one, adhesion is right, and two, that the plaster doesn't draw out the moisture from the metal coatings, making it so we get a harder reaction. So the longer we can keep the metal coating wet, the better the reaction usually is. And we got to make sure that we get this coated really nice. This is a really heavy textured piece, got a lot of highs and lows, so we'll move it around a lot, and we want to keep it nice and thin as well. So I thin the primate out about 10% just to make it so it doesn't fill in all these voids too much. Once we did 2 coats, we've got our brass C on here, and while I'm using the C version here, you can very easily use this task for the B version, and I do that a lot actually. I will utilize this using the metal coating B, and this works for the, say you want to do iron, or if you want to do the brass, copper, or bronze, all of these will work with this method. So get your metal coating on there, and then we're going to use the Tiffany green patina on this one. So we want to oxidize it, get it nice and patinaed, and then we can go from there for the metal rubs. So 2 coats of the brass C is down, and now we're using Tiffany green. We'll wait a couple days, and I usually wait about 3 days to start this process, but you can see the Tiffany green has reacted absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to go in with the brass rub. And like I said, if you're doing iron and made this rusty, then you go in with the silver rub, and you just kind of follow that order. But we're going to do a nice dry rub on this. And we've done another video on dry rubs, but this one specifically over patina. And what this will do, it will leave the green in the recesses, but leave that brass up top, pretty much showing off if we had done the brass C and hit it with the steel wool and everything, which gives you a beautiful look, but would be just so much work on this. It would be tedious and difficult, and really it would be really hard on some of the areas that we're reaching. So that's why I wanted to show this technique as well. So here we're going to speed it up just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. It's just going to be going about 2.5 times, but essentially we're just doing a dry brush on this, and you'll see when I get a little bit too much on my brush, I'll brush it off on the towel or on my hand. You don't want to go too thick because then it just is going to look wrong. So nice and thin, light brushes right over the top, and it really just sells a look that makes it look remarkable. And it looks a little kind of light now, but once we get to the end and we put a clear coat on it, that green darkens up just a little bit and really just sets the tone. The metal rubs are actually a pretty cool product just because they can do this over anything. So say you blacken steel and with black magic, and you wanted it to have these little highlights like someone's rubbed up against it, or maybe cranked a wrench on a bolt a time or two, then you can just go back in with the silver rub and kind of put those in, and it just really makes it nice and easy. And really it's designed for these highlights. The metal rubs can be used wholly on their own, but I find that this is their realm of excellency. We could also utilize pretty much any patina in this for the metal coating. So if it works on the metal coatings, and of course not all patinas work on the metal coatings great, but the metal rubs would go over it. We just need to give it a couple days to make sure that everything's nice and dried out, and we don't want to hit it too hard because then we can actually cause some of the patina to come off. But really with the metal coating, it's not so much a problem. That would be more of a problem if you were doing, say, Tiffany green over real copper. Then we wouldn't want to brush too hard because it would just likely want to come off. Now, I'm getting pretty close to being happy with how this is. I'm just going to hit the sides real quick, but pretty much we can clear coat after this. You have to wait at least 3 days because the solvents in the rub needs to dry out. And if you push that too much, then we can have adhesion issues and doesn't want to dry really. It just stays tacky, the clear coat does. So give it 3 days, then you can clear coat it and you'll be good to go. This is ClearGuard, but you can use Everclear or wax or whatever clear coat you so want to use. All of the Sculpt Nouveau clear coats would work over this as long as you wait the designated time. And here we have our final piece of this Mayan plaster mold, and it has the Primate, the metal coating brass C, the Tiffany green, and the ClearGuard on it with the brass rub, of course. Primate, brass C metal coating, Tiffany green, brass metal rub, and ClearGuard are all available at www.sculptnouveau.com or through our distributor, Complete Sculptor in New York, at www.sculpt.com.